forget. All right. Don't forget the Casino products in the back, and there is some hot coffee. Good morning to all and welcome. As a very positive start, why don't we introduce ourselves and please include place of business and any pertinent information you care. At the end of our presentations, we always have shameless promotions. So please make a list of things you want people to know about. Nick, why don't you start us off this morning?
Good morning to everyone. I'm Nick Morris, the Vice President of the Highland Community Ministries.
Hey, thank you.
Hi, good morning. Highland Community Ministries. You know, hear a lot more about me on this.
Yay. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I'm McGeeney. I am a lifelong Highland resident besides for the time that I lived in Kentucky. And I am the Director of Communications for the Coalition for the Homeless. I'll be talking to you today.
I'm Brian Self, Highland resident, and I've lived in Chicago. I'm in the coalition as well.
You always try to get one up on you.
We'll go across the, go ahead. We'll just sweep around today.
I'm Beth Kentucky. I'm the manager at the Highland Park Library, over in the Nixon Mall. Having great.
Morning, everybody. I am the main line on the block by block. Very glad to have
Go ahead.
I'm calling from Ashley Eggers. I work for the mayor's office in the Department of Economic Development as a small business manager.
Good morning, my name is Amanda Shea. I'm a real estate agent with Homepage Realty, and I'm a here-in resident of the Highlands and just trying to get out into the community more and help as much as I can.
Thanks for being here, man.
I'm also her aunt. Thank you.
I'm Mark, founder of Investment Advisors.
It's your turn.
Oh, my turn. My name's Annie now. I'm president of Cherokee Triangle, which will currently sitting in. We've got to do important things over there, including Muhammad Ali. Everything you see today, Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Deanna O'Daniel, owner of South Hypnosis and Harmony House LMPD.
Good morning, Victor Rowe with PNC Bank. Good morning, John Barr, President of Librarians in Kentucky and coordinator for the St. Patrick's Parade. We'll be talking later. I did live in Chicago for 10 years. Oh, yeah, I work all over the city.
John Chamberlain, librarian with the parade. Really thanks to Gilda for all your support.
Thank you, John.
I'm Mark Abrams. I'm a board member of the Gilda. Jeff Myers, I'm a realtor with the Van National Realtors. I'm also a board member of the treasurer. Good morning, I'm also John Keeling, Metro Police. And I have vegetation that's
And Ben?
I'm a member of the Metro.
Yay, come on. You sneaking in on there. Now, honey, I left you to last. You can do this.
Hot showers does not work waking me up in the morning. I am the chair of the District Advisory Board, and we meet on the last Monday of every month, and we welcome anybody to come and share their stories with us.
Thank you, honey. You did a great job.
Thank you for the coffee.
You're welcome. Get the treats. It's all about the treats. All right. I did not hear, but is Karen here yet? All right. One thing that we do on an annual basis is support the Gilda's Club. And Karen will be here and we'll do that acknowledgement when she's here. See, I think, has everyone introduced themselves? Everybody was moving around. So great. All right. Ben, why don't you start us off today with a little of what's going on? And Ben's also been leading, our focus today is the homeless, and Ben is looking in some opportunities to help create a better process, what's going on in Metro government. Now you gotta come here so we can see it. I can get you on this. It's like,
I want to be sure they can see right up my nose.
yeah.
Taking care of business up here. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm Ben Reno-Weber. I'm the Metro Council person for District 8. I want to start off with a couple of shout outs to some of the folks in this room who have been doing amazing work, including the Guild, who's been just incredibly responsive to some of the partnership opportunities that are arising. One of the things that we are looking at is as a way to help small businesses feel secure opening and operating here. We are looking at opening a crisis response fund. So when you get a just quick emergency as a small business and you need someone to pay the deductible so you can get the window replaced, we're going to be working together on setting that up in coordination with LIBA. So thank you guys so much for being so incredibly responsive, and also to your incredible graffiti response. Work. You're definitely making it easier for people to start businesses here. And similarly, the Office for Economic Development has been great. Every time we have called and said, hey, I've got a person who's looking for a thing, you guys are on it. So really appreciate that. And huge shout out to the ambassadors. You guys have been on point. Can we get a round of applause for the making of this team? Man, I'll tell you, I don't know what is going on with the team you got right now, but things just look great. You're super responsive. Just so grateful for what you're doing. And then very excited about the upcoming St. Paddy's Day parade. I have some good news for you guys later. And I think it's really fun when we get to bring people together. And then final shout out to LMPD for being so incredibly responsive. We know what you guys have limited resources, but I appreciate you guys are thoughtful and creative and willing to find ways to do things. So a couple of announcements. Many of you might have seen yesterday that the mayor announced that the expanded hours for the deflection program. This has been the number one thing I have been pushing for since even before I was a candidate, which is the idea that you can call either 911 or another number. Right now it is 911. We'll come out next week with specific ways to do this, but when you've got somebody who does not need a police response, that means that the scene is not dangerous, they are not violent, and there's no medical issue, and there's some personal connection. You can't use deflection because you saw somebody walking down the road that didn't look right to you. Deflection is there's some interaction happening, but they're now 19 responders in the field in the city. Doesn't yet go out to the non-incorporated parts, but any place that LMPD goes, there are 19 people and crisis response teams that are going to be operating, and then they're going to be continuing to expand that program in the coming budget cycle, we hope. So that's really exciting. We'll get more news to you next week about exactly how to activate that, but that's really fun. The other piece that we're working on, and I'm sure Brian is going to talk more about this, but when there's many different types of humans who are experiencing houselessness. But when you're talking about crisis response, that crisis response requires someone to call. We've got that now. Someone to respond. We're getting there. And someplace for them to go. And so one of the real things we're going to be pushing for in coordination with the state is a 23-hour respite space. We used to have one in Louisville. We're not going to have exactly that model. We're actually going to have, based on some national best practices, but we are looking to open that. So that's been another real area of focus, and I'm really excited about the progress that we are making there. As a whole, as a council person, the thing that I am really most focused on is how do we provide those kinds of services in a fiscally responsible way? So my background as an entrepreneur is very much in the health equity space, and we are increasingly learning that a lot of those responses we can in fact bill to Medicaid. We can in fact build, like, because we are avoiding costs within the healthcare or the jail system, we can pull those costs forward to make the kinds of investments that we need to make. That's the immediate term. There's a lot of longer term things that need to happen that I'm sure you guys are going to talk about, and we're excited about all the amazing work that you are doing to respond in our community to what is a national challenge. But we're actually, I think, much ahead of the curve in many ways. The strategy you guys have laid out is phenomenal, and we just now need to resource you. So looking forward to hearing that. I'm going to pause there and take questions.
One thing that you have brought to focus, and I thought was a good observation of trying to find out to qualify the homeless for health. Now that's unique. No one I know of brought that up. So where are y'all with that?
Well, so Kentucky has a very high insurance coverage rate, which is great. And so many people are on Medicaid. It's above 90%. There's some things that are happening that at the state level where people who were qualified during the pandemic are being moved off. One of the things that we are doing is many of the people who are being moved off of Medicaid are employed, which means that they qualify for the Affordable Care Act programs, which can be very low cost. We have the lowest conversion rate of any state in the country. Even Mississippi and West Virginia are beating us, which means that people are losing health insurance completely who don't need to be. So we're doing a lot of work around how do we do outreach for folks who are employed and could afford a very small copay or a very small monthly payment, but don't know how to get onto the system, or the system is very complicated. So, generally across government, one of the areas of focus that I have is trying to make the citizen interaction easier. So within our office, just a show of hands, how many people have contacted our office in the last 4 months in this room? Yeah, Ray, you count for like 10 people. So we are building out a system. We have built out a system in our office where you get a response in 48 hours. That response is clear. You then get put into a project management system where we will track until completion whatever it is that you wrote in about. And sometimes that is, we can't do that. That's not in our power, or they're not going to invest in that. 80-something% of the time it is, we got that done. And then we respond back to you with that. That system is a little different than is what's happening in the rest of metro government. So we were actually talking to IT. They're using us as a pilot to test whether they could expand that out through the rest of metro government, which would be pretty cool. No, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Oh, potholes. Betsy would kill me. Potholes. Tell 311. The response is very fast. I mean, we're averaging somewhere in 48 hours getting those potholes filled, but we can't get them filled if you don't tell us where they are. So put it in 311 and notify us so we can make sure they get done. And thank you.
Major Grissom, do you have some observations and comments about the improvements that are being made in your department?
Morning, thank you. Get in the middle here. Not nearly as tall as Ben, so they don't see it in my nose. Let's see where to start. I'll say real quick. 2023, the fifth division, we saw about 11% decrease in crime. Two really good things: all-time low in robberies, which is encouraging, and all-time low in theft from vehicles. So that's always been a persistent problem. All-time low in that, and we were too shy of setting the record for burglaries as well. So we've seen some success even with restricted and less resources and manpower. We had some really good successes. So I'm happy for that. Couple of things going on this year, and Councilman Reno-Weber really hit on the biggest one for us: the unhoused, the deflection program. First, on the deflection program, as this scales up, we're going to start to really see where the gaps are going to be. It worked really well as kind of a pilot project. Now, as we expand it, I've already heard some feedback from officers about some complaints and stuff. So that's really kind of be a policy and training issue. So if you start to see or hear some grumblings, that's just part of the process. It's a long way from where we were 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it was still we were trying to get out of the business of having to be the primary agency dealing with the homeless. And that was really hard for especially government to get over because they wanted to always put it on us. And now we're getting a lot of help. I can tell you firsthand, officers do not want to make arrests. They absolutely do not. It's a pain. It leads to nothing. The jail is going to let them out, but there are good circumstances where it's necessary. So that's still why we have a hand in things. But we want to avoid it as much as possible. The deflection team is going to help out a whole lot with that. We have a pilot project that's going to start with inside the department in dealing with sanitation and Metro Works and the Coalition for the Homeless, where officers will go out with these teams and assess the camps, try to get them the right resources, the right help, and get them to where they need to go, find a safe place for them. And eventually it will be a facility that Metro government's going to help us with. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of pieces. LMPD's part isn't huge, but we are an integral part of it. And hopefully we can see some good success. And we've made some good strides. The 5th Division in particular here, luckily we do not have the level of issues that some other areas have, but it is still important, and it is going to be a focus for us. I've got 2 district resource officers, John Keeling being one of them. They are our primary contact within the division to respond to those kind of things and address more long-term, not necessarily who you're going to get if you call 911, but they're who you're going to get. And they've done a really good job, and they've learned a lot along the way too. What else am I missing?
Well, resource officer, John, yes, a lot of people may not understand this.
Sure. So when you call the police, a car wreck, you get a patrol officer. So we have different types of specializations: patrol officers, detectives, commanding officers like myself. We have what's called a district resource officer. We have 2 of them. The district resource officers would be who you would call if you have more of a long-term concern or issue. I'm trying to think of something good, John. What's a good example?
Well, if you've got abandoned vehicles on your.
There you go.
Street, if you've got quality of life, our objective. And basically the resource officers are a human contact you can get a hold of very easily to help solve these problems in your neighborhoods. So quality of life issues, basically the main is what we're at. That's our objective. And if you don't have my card already, I got a bunch in my pocket. Please grab one. My cell's on there. Also our email. And then we do the follow up to the way you get the most are usually abandoned vehicles. It's sitting there too long, parked the wrong way or in the wrong area. We try to get on those within 24 hours. Use the business complaint form portal to do that. So we are also justifying our existence with the chief downtown. So call us, send us email, give us something to do so that he's satisfied.
And if you call Betsy, she gets it to me quick.
Towing thing. I know that's complicated, but I mean, 36 hours at most, 24 often, and that is a substantial improvement over previously.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And they'll deal with stuff too, along the same lines, like trailers that get broken down. We had like a camper or something that we had to get. So stuff that's really hard to get moved that we can't do quickly. It takes a little bit more time and effort to find the right person to come out and tow it. That's what they do. So kind of a jack of all trades. And right.
When are you reinstating your Fitbit challenge?
It'll be in the spring. We'll do it in the spring again, probably after Derby. So we got Derby, and then we're going to have the PGA Championship, right? It's going to be a big deal for us. So back-to-back events, and then we'll jump back into the Fitbit thing. I wouldn't dare make them come out in this cold because I wouldn't walk in the cold, so I'm not going to ask them to do it. But if you might have any questions, I'm right up here.
Well, thank you so much, Peter. Well, there's always the excitements, moments, challenges, and one thing is reward and acknowledgement. Karen? please come on up. This is Karen Morrison. She is the president and CEO of Gilda's. Come on in screen.
Okay.
Come on in screen. We'll get it.
Get a
Yes,
little box to stand on.
it's true. Well, anyway, let's see, how would you shake hand? Yay!
Yay, thank you.
Oh, thank you all. No, we each year, from Bardstown Road to Glow, do a fundraiser. And from that, the proceeds we like to give to you all. And because you host us, for one. And then what they do for the community. And if you want to take a quick few minutes, please
Sure.
get them an overview of what
Sure.
we're up
And
to.
is there somebody, I do need to be on screen here. That's weird because I can't even see all of you if I'm looking over this. I've been here 17 years next month, and we've been open just over 16 years. And as long as I can remember, I think since year one, we were open over on Baxter, we have hosted this group. And some of you have been here since then. But for those of you who are newer to the group, and for the few who find yourself in this building for the very first time today, which I think is just a very few of you, I just want to tell you a little bit about Gilda's Club. We are a cancer support community for men, women, children, any type of cancer, and not just the patient, but the whole family. So the patient and everyone who loves that patient. And we do about 180 different program offerings every single month, all free. This is our primary location in terms of size, and most of our staff are housed here. But we also have a location in West Louisville at 17th and Broadway, and we are opening 2 more branches in Southern Indiana, Clark County and Floyd County. We have secured those sites, and they'll be opening in the second quarter of this year. So we're very excited about that. This is a mission that's very personal to me. I have a daughter who's 27, and she's a 23-year survivor. Just went through a big surgery in December, has another one in April. I mean, she's still dealing with this crap that we call cancer. But our philosophy here is that living with cancer is not a choice anyone would make, but how you live with it is your choice. So living with cancer with joy and style and purpose, meaning, and yes, laughter. I mean, Gilda Radner herself, who I think most of you are old enough to remember, the very first comedian on Saturday Night Live. She said cancer was the most unfunny thing she ever experienced, but laughter sometimes beats the alternative. And I always say laughter is not only good medicine, but the only medicine without any negative side effects. So that's what we're about here. We do all different kinds of events, art, music, social events, support groups, lectures, workshops, cooking classes, a lot of dinners, and we even have a Mardi Gras party coming up, which you all are ready for now with your beads. So check out the calendar. If you know anybody living with cancer, please refer them to us. Again, it's all free to the participants, and we rely on volunteers. So if you know anybody who has a gift of time to give, about 96% of our workforce is volunteers. So we couldn't do what we do without this generous community. So we're thrilled to have you all here. Thank you for helping us spread the word, and we look forward to seeing you throughout the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and in just a little bit, we'll get the explanation why there's so many beads running loose today. We're getting ready for a wonderful, wonderful attempt at a Fat Tuesday, but more to come. Well, our focus today is the homeless, and we want to really thank the Coalition for the Homeless for being willing to come and give us some perspectives of what's going on. Between Brian and Catherine, who's going to come? Okay, all right. Well, Catherine, come on up and get set up and tell us all about it.
Okay, and how much time do I have? Roughly 10 minutes. Okay, great. I might try, if you all don't mind, my hand at just opening a website at the same time, just because I've got a presentation with some graphs and info. I did this last, actually I've done this a bunch of times. I created a link so that it's easier to view. tinyurl.com. As I am doing this and seeing if it works, wanted to let you guys know my name is Catherine McGeeney. I am the Director of Communications for the Coalition for the Homeless. I have been employed with the Coalition for the Homeless for about 10 years now, in one way or another. And I really enjoy the work that we do. Our mission is that because housing is a human right, we prevent and end homelessness in Louisville through advocacy, education, and the coordination of our member agencies. So let me get these both toggled here so we can see that this is still happening for you guys. All right. You know, oftentimes people ask, what does that mean about your work? What do you all actually do? And we have a number of member agencies. We have over 40. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. We have over 40 partners who do the work of feeding people, getting people into shelter, getting people housing. Ultimately, housing is what ends homelessness. Shelter doesn't end homelessness, you know, jail doesn't end homelessness, of course, and other things that we might feel end homelessness don't actually do that. So we are focused on addressing those root causes of homelessness and on making sure that when we fund solutions or when we advocate for solutions, that what we're doing is advocating for solutions that don't just remove the problem from our vision, but that actually end the problem of homelessness. And so, you know, we have a brief, I wanted to go through, people have a lot of strong opinions about homelessness, as with anything, and those personal opinions and feelings inform what we think needs to be done. And what we at the Coalition for the Homeless do is we track data and conduct research to ensure that we can actually, you know, recommend and implement these solutions that work. So I'm going to do some really quick facts versus myths. A lot of people believe that unhoused people just prefer to sleep outside, that's just what they prefer. But the truth is that unhoused people would rather sleep in an apartment or a non-congregate shelter than outdoors. You've maybe heard this. Louisville is short 31,000 units of rental housing for our poorest citizens. In our shelters, almost every night are full in Louisville. And so our family wait list, a lot of people think families don't experience homelessness. We have on average 15 to 20 families every night who are on our emergency wait list for shelter. That's not housing, that's shelter. So we are in a crisis. It's not that we don't have resources, or it's not that our programs aren't working, it's that those aren't funded enough. Okay, so when we, and we're actually this week in the middle of our point in time count, where we send out teams of people to survey all of the people who are currently unsheltered. So we will have new data to update this final bullet point. But when our emergency overnight shelters were full last year, I'm sorry, we counted 581 unsheltered people. So those are people in our city in excess of shelter capacity who have nowhere to go. So it's a crisis. Housing first. So then people say, okay, including our state legislature right now, housing first approaches don't work. People should get sober, get a job before they get housing. Homelessness is a traumatic experience that keeps people from addressing any more than their immediate needs. Housing first is not housing only. Tailored services and case management are also provided. Last year, so this should be updated for 2023, our providers in Louisville moved 1,700 people off the streets into permanent housing. And 97 to 98% of those people housed in those programs have stayed housed for longer than we track over the past 10 years. Okay, so we know that these programs are working, but while we housed 1,700 people last year, there were over 4,000 people who entered homelessness in Louisville last year. So it's not a problem of we have these solutions that aren't working, we're wasting money on, you know, throwing it down the drain and it doesn't work. The problem is we don't have enough money for the services that we know work, that we have proven data to show that they work. And then finally, I want to address this idea that homelessness is caused by a bad choice or series of bad choices made out of personal failures. Statistics, Greg Colburn wrote a book called Homelessness is a Housing Problem that I highly recommend. He is a statistician. He analyzed across the whole country, and he tested against mental illness rates, drug use, poverty, weather, generosity of public assistance, even low income mobility. This idea that people come into cities, right, if they're homeless to get services, or that we're so generous and that's why we have people coming here. Overwhelmingly, and he has all these charts to back it up, the cause of homelessness is most strongly correlated with the availability or lack of low cost housing. So we know that it is about how much affordable for poor people housing that we provide, okay? So homelessness is a policy and funding choice made by governments, not a personal choice by individuals. And one of the things we like to do to kind of put a line under that is that there are all sorts of people who have addiction issues and mental health issues, who are safely housed, who have families who can provide them treatment resources and other things. And so while the people that we see every day are the most vulnerable folks who have the most severe issues often, that's not the cause of their homelessness. The cause was that they couldn't have an affordable place to live. And then finally, we talked about this. There is a myth about all unhoused people are individuals who live in encampments. And families and children don't experience homelessness. Unfortunately, nearly 1 in 5 people experiencing homelessness in Louisville are part of a family. Sorry. That means there are nearly 600 Louisville. I've got 3 kids, so this is personal for me. That means there were nearly 600 Louisville families in 2023 who received homeless services, including nearly 1,700 children. And that's an increase over the year prior. And as I said earlier, every night we maintain a waiting list for families to get into emergency shelter. So these are people who call us, the week of Christmas. We had families who called us, I think it was 20 families who called us and said, I think 17 were sleeping in their cars. I mean, it is a crisis, and it is a crisis because we don't have enough resources, not because our programs aren't working. I wanted to take a little bit of time. We are so grateful that you all mentioned the deflection program. And we believe strongly that most of the time what someone needs is a de-escalation, right? Is a de-escalation, and they need assistance. And so we've got some things, I don't know, I've got a bunch of different things I can go into. This is generally a pretty long presentation, so forgive me, but generally speaking, what we recommend for people experiencing homelessness is to, engage in pairs, make sure you've trained your staff, you've got clear policies that everyone understands, that are evenly applied, that we've got a full de-escalation training that we can do for businesses anytime. And actually we've got our director of education is going to be running a business training explicitly on this in March. So if you want to be part of that, let me know and we'll add you to that list. But, generally speaking, we always encourage people to try to do what they can to de-escalate, to train the people that they can to the extent that they can to de-escalate, perhaps have a script that is developed. We recommend calling that deflection team if needed. The St. John's outreach team, are you familiar with them? I can see if they could come meet with you. And, really what we want to emphasize is that we believe that, treating these people with dignity and compassion, finding ways to de-escalate and to bring them to resources is really the best practice. And then our education director also said, be sure building a relationship with outreach folks, knowing who they are, clearly communicating, as I said. And then he also provided this list of things to have on hand. So Narcan, TARC tickets, we've got street tips. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with street tips, but if you operate a business that wants a bunch of little booklets that have resources, you can come grab my card and I will free some up for you and you can pick them up at our office. Just let me know how many you want. And we can be sure that you guys get some street tips. And then we've got, let's see. Yes, this also comes from our education director. Engaging a person is best. If you are going to enforce anti-panhandling, to put those signs up. We often find that people are well-meaning and want to donate things as they're clearing out space. And we would recommend that if there's something that requires storage, not to give that. And let's see, and then we've got our list of resources and links. So I'm sure people have questions. I know that was a very abbreviated presentation here. We do have a whole plan for ending homelessness. People often say, we know what doesn't end it, what does? So we've got a very thorough plan called A New Path Home that we would also love to present to you all sometime if needed. So do we have time for some questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know one was you talked about the booklet. Is there a link to that?
Yes. Yes. So if you go to louhomeless.org, let's see if this link works. Oh, yes. Oh, it did. Okay. So this is our, it says 2022, but it was published at the end of 2022. We're in the process. We start in February updating that booklet. But if you go to louhomeless.org/ I believe, let me see if street tips will get you there. Maybe I'll get my fingers on the right keys. This should work. You know, except when I'm in front of a group of people. If you want, you could do louhomeless.org. Oh yeah, it does. /street-tips. We do have on here a printable version of street tips. We also have it translated into Spanish. So if you click onto the printable version, it will, and if you do front to back, it's just a very short 6-page print job. So.
Well, yes. I think we have a question.
I think have a question.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the disruption program. When you tell them, I understand that you still have to have the consent. And then you're engaged with this person. And I work in the library.
Oh yeah. Thank you for what you do.
That if they decline, you know, we offer, say, hey, you know, we can get you help. And sometimes they decline and then end up calling the police eventually. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so what I would say is that we've got a lot of outreach people who have relationships that they've established with the folks. Like when I say we, I don't mean the Coalition for the Homeless, I mean across the whole city, right? Who have established relationships. In that case, and I can get the number for you, I would probably call like the St. John Center outreach team, because they do a lot of outreach work. And
they would do that more than just, yeah.
Oh, yes, they will. Yeah.
They will.
Their outreach team will. Yeah.
Can I add something? We are in the midst of negotiating something with the Hope Bus. That Reverend Seychelles bus needs to be able to do an additional response. We're going to try and fund to the street outreach folks who are specialists in this. So it's contracting is complicated, but we're working on it. Within the next couple of weeks, we hope to have, in addition to deflection, another resource that we can bring to the table.
And the Hope.
Sorry, the Hope Bus is a phenomenal outreach. Actually, you probably can do a better explanation.
Yeah, sure. Well, the Hope Bus started as an organization that was doing a bunch of outreach and helping folks out. They're also one of our partner agencies. They currently run the Safe Outdoor Space as well, that you might have heard about. And so they manage that, and they've got, I mean, Seychelles she's a very compelling, passionate, engaged person on that issue. So she's for sure, she's got literal buses. So it's great.
I mean, they have that personal relationship.
Yeah.
They might be able to do one additional layer of persuasion. Before it is covered.
Yeah, for sure. And if we had, it's great to hear that there'll be funding for more outreach people in general. Yeah, in general, that really meets the need,
That's an excellent question. Again, that's most of the solutions in this town have been lack of communication. We have resources, and Ben and the Coalition of Homeless are starting to find them and coordinating them. How many times have you thought, I wish someone would do a service? It probably exists. It's finding how to get that service to the location where you need it.
Yeah.
Cannot thank you enough.
Yes, thank you so much. I
No,
appreciate it.
And again, if anyone has additional questions, you all are still to be here for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yes. And again, cannot thank you all enough for the continued efforts in dealing with not a hopeless situation, but acknowledging the challenging times and the opportunities to make changes. On to the beads. Fat Tuesday's not far away. In celebration of February 13th, the Highlands Commerce Guild has partnered with the Highlands Community Ministry, and they're putting on a Fat Tuesday. So Kim, come on up and tell us all about it.
Good morning. I'm Kim Henderson, and I have just moved here from Louisiana. I caught all the beads that you're wearing today, and if you came in late, come see me. I'll give you beads before you leave, so don't feel left out, because I know everybody likes to have some beads. I would like to thank the Guild for their partnership in this, and they have been most generous and gracious in helping us find restaurants to do our activity. I've not done this before, so this is my first time doing the Taste of the Highlands, but you're in for a treat. I hope that you will buy a ticket. On your table, you have a QR code you can scan, and that will send you straight to our Eventbrite page where you can purchase a ticket. This is our biggest fundraiser. And as most of you know, that Highlands Community Ministries also helps support underserved people and low-income families. So this is super, super important, but it's a way to have fun while you're doing the support. We have 13 restaurants. We have Limestone Branch Distillery coming. We have Pivot Brewery, Old 502 Winery. We have live music, including Amy's son is coming to be our opening act. So we're excited about his opening there. I have, let's see, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And I also could use some help. So if there's anybody who would like to volunteer their time, we're going to be setting up, we're going to be tearing down, we're going to be managing the floor. So all those things will be available. We'll do probably a sign up genius in the next week or two. So I'll make sure Aaron can get that to anybody in here who's willing to share some time on Tuesday. But please, if you have the time and resources, please purchase a ticket and come. And are there any questions?
One thing you might want to tell them, here's the restaurants we've been working with.
Yes. Okay. So we have Beyond the Sun, which is new in town. I've not been there, but you've been there.
Yes.
Big Bad Breakfast, Bristol Bar and Grill, the Cafe, the Eagle, El Mundo's, Cazitos. We love Cazitos. Jack Fry's is back. Mark's Feed Store. Okay. Morris Deli, O'Shea's Irish Pub, Ramsey's, Uptown Cafe, and we're still talking to Wiltshire Bakery. So
Yes.
all right, so we've got a wide variety plus the drinks. So tickets are $60 a person. If you would like to have a specialized sidebar tasting from Limestone Distillery, that's an additional $15 per person, which I think is a deal. It's the day before Valentine's. Invite your Galentine, Palantine, Valentine. Come and have a date night. You can't find a cheaper date. Seriously, it's a good evening. I think you'll have fun. At 5:30 to 7:30 on the 13th of February at Highlands.
Wonderful.
All right.
Any questions, thoughts?
Oh, the QR code is going in the chat for those of you that are online. So Amy's installed that in the chat. Thanks so much.
And we are very progressive today because we're going from one bead activity to the next. John, come up and tell us about the St. Patrick's Parade.
I don't know who you All right, very quickly. St. Patrick's Parade is coming March 9th. It's about the earliest we can possibly throw it, and some people go, why? The real reason behind it is we have a lot of sponsors for the parade. The parade is actually the AOH's, Ancient Order Hibernians, 501c3 charity really runs the parade. The HCCA gives money to charities without regard to religion, denomination, social status, anything you want to list in that list. As long as you are doing something for the community that follows our motto of friendship, unity, and Christian charity. So we will give money away based on this parade. We do it early for the sponsors. They get a great weekend when we throw the parade. They'll also get another weekend when the St. Patrick's proper shows up. And that way they can reap in some revenues that they'll use, because you just heard a list of sponsors. There's a few on there that sponsor our parade. So we know that they're all giving and they need to raise revenue to run their business. So that's why we do it that way. This year is our 51st parade. The theme is Sláinte, y'all. The Brooklyn guy has a hard time saying y'all. Sláinte is in loose definition, good health. But a lot of people, if you go into an Irish bar, you see a few Irish people together, they'll say sláinte. Really, it's kind of like a cheers. So we decided to bring a little Irish and bring a little Kentucky together. If you see the parade shirts, there's probably 17, 18 different languages for what they use to say cheers. Because St. Patrick's Day is all about bringing everybody together. You know, the old saying, everybody is Irish for at least one day. But we want to acknowledge all of the different communities that we have in Louisville and surrounding region. So we went with sláinte all this year. The parade itself will follow the same game plan we've done in the past. We'll start some street closures at noon. They'll be rolling throughout the day. The parade will start at 3 o'clock as always, and it starts rain or shine. And we've seen snowstorms, we've seen deluges, and we've seen beautiful days. We'll take the latter this year. But we'll start at 3 o'clock. We'll run through Baxter, through Bardstown Road down to Windsor, and people will escape off of there. Some things we learned last year. We always have a huge turnout in the Irish Triangle where O'Shea's, Molly's, Flanagan's, Great Diorio's is on the edge of that. There's always a lot of people there. It appeared last year that a lot more people wanted to be at the start point of Broadway and Baxter. And another hot spot turned up last year was down around where the Neat Bourbon Bar is. We've seen a lot bigger crowds down there. So we're going to pay attention to that, put more barricades up. We'll have a few more Leos, law enforcement officers in those areas just to make sure nothing is going wrong. We have a full complement of officers again that we pay for to take care of security. Special thanks goes to JCSO, the sheriffs, for giving us some of their reserve deputies that they don't get paid. They do a lot of events around town, and they're going to come help us this year. So they'll help us with the security side of the equation. Along with that, we do expect to see a larger crowd this year. Last year was a little bit larger. I've been looking at long range. We're somewhere in the 50s, partly cloudy. We're all good. I'll take it. But we are still taking applications in for units to be in the parade if they haven't gotten in yet. February 10th is our deadline. You can put one in after that, but there will be a late fee, and then you will be at the will and the mercy of if we have any spaces left. We anticipate about 135 units. It could go to about 145 depending on who's late and who they are. If they've been in the parade for the last 20 years and they pulled an oops, we'll put them in the parade. But we don't want to get too high because we want to try to be out of the way of the neighborhood with the parade itself by about 6, maybe a 6:15. So we turn the streets back loose. Our permit does run till 8 o'clock, and we work very closely with LMPD about when we take the barricades down. And it's really for a safety issue. If there's a lot of people on the block, especially in the triangle, we won't take the barricades down and just start firing cars through. We want to make sure everybody gets to get out of there safe. Lastly, we did bring back our yearbook this year. We had that last in 2020, where we sold ads to help the charity. And we're taking those for about another week. The sponsors of the parade get a full page ad in there for free. That's what we can do to say thank you, part of what we can do. You see the buttons in front of you. We sell those online. We sell the parade shirts online. And again, everything that we do around this parade, all the proceeds go into our charity so we can give it away. It's kind of hard with the increases in costs that we've had to deal with, especially for the security of the parade. But we do our best to raise enough money to try to take care of a few people out there and give everybody the fun that they deserve for St. Patrick's Day. Or as a lot of people think the parade is, they consider that the first day of spring. If the parade's here, spring's got to be here. So we hope so. I hope that works out. That's where we're at. If you have any questions, I'll field them now, or I can take some more later.
How many days?
You can bring as many beads and as much candy as everything you want. We do ask, please hand them out. Because little kids have a way of fitting under these barriers, no matter what you put there. And we're very cognizant, we don't want the overzealous child going after a piece of candy and getting in the way of the wrong thing. And the only way to really curtail that is walk over and hand them stuff. And we usually have units with a lot of people in them. Not a problem to walk over and hand them. I did bring pins. If you didn't get one, see me before you leave. I've been giving them out to everybody. As a thank you for letting us talk here today. We do appreciate the Highland Commerce Guild. We are members for helping us with our permit process by mailing out all of the street closures and all of the times where everything's going to go on to the businesses and the neighborhood associations. We appreciate the help that we get here. And in turn, we try to help you guys out.
We bring beads too.
You bring beads. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you and Sláinte.
Thank you, John. Thank you. One more community thing that we do, and again, that's what the Highlands is about, building community. He did mention Dioreos, and they need a shout out. I have to say, last year at the 1 day notice on the Taste of the Highlands, we had someone that had to pull out. And Nick Morris called over there, and they came that night, hot pizza, and I just cannot believe and thank them for stepping up on 1 day's notice. And they're joining us again this year on Taste of the Highlands. That's one that I did not get a shout out. Speaking of Nick, he's got a list of activities of things going on. So please come on up and update us on what you have found out about the good things in the Highlands.
Good morning to everyone, and Happy New Year to you on this. This is your last opportunity to wish someone Happy New Year on January 31st. So anyway, we are the Highland Commerce Guild. So I'd like to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about the commerce side. I think we all realize that when all the storefronts are filled with good quality businesses, we all benefit. So that's one of the charges that we undertake as well. So I just wanted to give you a few updates, some comings and goings of businesses. Down at 1700 Bardstown Road, which is right there at Duker, a restaurant has been undergoing renovation for now, gosh, it seems like at least 6 months, but that's going to become their signs are already up and in fact, it's Kiwami Ramen, and that is a kind of a upscale Japanese restaurant. And they should be opening hopefully within a month. I mean, I think they got into some construction problems in the process, so they had to spend more time than they thought. And some of you may have noticed that the Taco Luchador right here on Baxter Avenue at Morton has closed, but the same restaurant chain is going to put in the Señora Arepa, which it's a Venezuelan restaurant, and that should open up pretty shortly. One of the things that seems to be in the rumor mills quite a bit is Mid-City Mall. I did call Metz Realty and just to kind of get an update on them. Currently, there is no contract or anything on that property, and they are not. There has in the past been some interest in that property, obviously, but there is currently no contracts, and they are not actively trying to sell that property. So I think. I think we realize that is a unique property to the Highlands. They really have a great mix of 25 businesses. And if we were to lose that, we would really miss it. So I think we need to support them as best we can and keep our fingers crossed that they don't get any great offers for that space. And also the Maple Street Biscuit Company, the former Maple Street, I did speak to the owners of that property. They are actively trying to market that either as a restaurant or maybe as just retail space possibly. So they do not currently have any interest in that property and are actively trying to market. So hopefully that will come about. Let me see what else I have on my list here. Our guest today, or I should say, unfortunately, the owner of Beyond the Sun, Ahmet Volati, was not able to make it today, but he is has offered the $25 gift card today. And I don't know if any of you have been to that space, but that of course was the former Mellow Mushroom. And they made a huge investment in buying that property and have done a great job with the renovation. If you haven't been there, I suggest you pop in and take a look. So without further ado, we can now do the drawing, and it will be $25 gift certificate for Beyond the Sun.
Thank you so much. Totally unbiased. Number 16.
Number 16 is John Chamberlain.
See, those that do show up get rewarded, John. Remember that. Remember that. Well, now we hit a wonderful time of shameless promotions. Is anyone got something going on with their business or services that you'd like to tell us about? And again, shameless is good.
Hi, again, I'm Bethany at the Highlands Park Library. I just wanted to let you know that we have a couple of events happening on Saturday, February the 17th. Now, in the morning, we have something that we've done for a number of years with the Friends and the Foundation for the library called Cafe Louie. It's an opportunity to meet with the local representatives. And we normally open at 10 o'clock, but that day we do open at 9 o'clock. The event starts at 9. And that way you have a chance to ask questions from your representatives when you come in. You've got coffee and pretty early in the morning, so we've got coffee there. You can come fill out a card on the question, and there's a facilitator who will guide the program. And we've had a good showing in the past, and we've had a lot of good communication with the representatives who show up at our location. They're throughout the library system. The ones showing up at our location are some of might be 8th Metric District. I know Kathy Chambers Armstrong is coming. I'm not sure who else is going to be there, but we usually have a lineup of about 3 or 4. And then later that same day, we do have an encore presentation of Before You Buy workshop. That's about finding out about heat pump HVACs and tax credits. So if your furnace or AC system's getting older and you want to know about the new federal tax credits for, investing in energy efficiency in your home or business, you can come and learn about it and how you can apply. It's presented by Sarah Lynn Cunningham with the Louisville Climate Action Network, and it's going to be the same day, Saturday, the 17th at 2 p.m.
Yay. Wonderful. Ray, I bet you have something you'd like to tell us.
Highland Park Neighborhood Association and is bringing out our spring newsletter, or our winter newsletter. It will be going into the mail soon, the next week or so. Goes to about 1,400 addresses. And we also take extra copies and we put them in the library. Thank you very much, Honey Brothers, and two other locations that are kind enough to let us set these things out. So they get fairly good distribution. We will only be having one coming up in the near future for a spring newsletter, trying to advertise our participation in the Easter egg hunt that we have in Highland Park, and also the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And one of the things we're doing is asking businesses to join the Highland Park Neighborhood Association as business members. If you either do business in Highland Park or you're inside our boundaries, which are basically Winter, Grinstead, down Bardstown, Eastern Parkway, over to the Paragraph Street Medical Center and so on. You're in that area or do business in that area. What we'd like to do is offer you a join as member. We offer you a business card advertisement in our next newsletter. So it's It's $50 to join, and the news, the business card advertisement is, we typically charge $25, so it's actually $25 off the first month that we're in, first issue that we're in, so. Thank you for it.
Thank you, Ray. All right.
I have just a couple of things. We just recently had a potluck over at St. James on Bardstown Road. It was lots of fun, lots of volunteers. It was a lovely event. Annual meeting will be, the Cherokee Tribal Association will be occurring in March. Our bylaws indicate that we do it every year. So that will happen all around.